thevoicebeforethevoid.net. The Bird Woman by Henry Spicer. Read by The Voice Before the Void. The events of this strange tale, though they actually occurred in England but a short while since, would scarcely be out of place in a book of German dreams and fancies. The narrator, a girl of the servant class, but of rather superior education and manners, had called on the writer's sister on the subject of a place to which she had been recommended, and in the course of conversation related the following as a recent experience. The advertisement, in which she set forth her willingness to take charge of an invalid, infirm, or lunatic person, or to assume any office demanding unusual steadiness of nerve, was replied to by a lady whose letter was dated from a certain locality on the outskirts of a large commercial city, and who requested her attendance there at an appointed time. The house proved to be a dingy, deserted-looking mansion, and was not rendered more cheerful by the fact that the adjoining tenements on either side were unoccupied. It wore, altogether, a haunted and sinister aspect, and the girl, as she rang the bell, was sensible of a kind of misgiving, for which she could not account. A timid person might have hesitated. This girl possessed unusual firmness and courage, and, in spite of the presentiment we have mentioned, she determined, at all events, to see what she would be called on to encounter. A ladylike person, the mistress herself, opened the door, and conducting the applicant into a vacant apartment, informed her in a few words that the service that would be required of her was of a very peculiar nature, imperatively demanding those precise qualities she conceived her to possess. It was right, she added, to mention that the family lived in great seclusion, partly from choice, partly from necessity, an impression having gone abroad that there existed something strange and evil in connection with the residence, which was, in reality, known in the vicinity by the title of The Haunted House. With these preliminary warnings, the lady suggested that the applicant might wish to reconsider her purpose. The latter, however, having little fear of anything human, and none at all of apparitions, at once agreed to the terms proposed, stipulating only that the cause of the strange reports affecting the mansion should be a little more clearly explained, and her own particular duties defined. The mistress readily assented to both conditions, and, leading the way to a ground-floor apartment at the back, unlocked the door and turned the handle, as if about to enter, but, checking herself suddenly, warned her companion, without sinking her voice below its ordinary tone, that she was about to be brought face to face with a spectacle that might well try the strongest nerves. Nevertheless, there was nothing to fear so long as she retained her self-command. With this not very reassuring preface, they entered the room. It was rather dark, for the lower half of the windows were boarded up. But in one corner, on the floor, was plainly distinguishable what looked like a heap of clothes flung together in disorder. It appeared to be in motion, however, and the mistress of the house, once more turning to her follower, had just time to utter the mysterious words, "Don't be frightened. If she likes you, she'll hoot. If she doesn't, she'll scream," when from the apex of the seeming heap of clothes there rose a head that made the stranger's blood run chill. It was human, indeed, in general structure, but exhibited, in place of a nose, a huge beak, curved and pointed like that of an owl. Two large, staring yellow eyes increased the bizarre resemblance, while numerous tufts of some feathery substance, sprouting from a hard skin and black as a parrot's tongue, completed this horrible intermingling of bird and woman. As they approached, the unhappy being rose and sunk with the measured motion of a bird upon a perch, and presently, opening its mouth, gave utterance to a hideous and prolonged "to-woo." "All right," said the lady quietly. "She likes you." They were now standing, as it were, over the unfortunate freak of nature. "Have you the courage to lift her?" inquired the lady. "Try." The girl, though recoiling instinctively from the contact, nerved herself to the utmost, and, putting her arms beneath those of the still hooting creature, strove to raise it. In doing so, the hands became disengaged from the clothes. They were black, and armed with long curved talons, like those of a bird of prey. Even this new discovery might not have made the girl's courage quail, had she not, in raising the creature, observed that she was not, as had seemed to be the case, crouched on the ground, but balanced on an actual perch, or rail, round which her feet closed and clung by means of talons similar to those which adorned her hands. So inexpressible was the feeling of horror that now overcame the visitor, that, after one desperate effort of self-control, she was forced to let go of the thing she held. A wild, unearthly scream that rang through the house marked the creature's change of mood. The baleful eyes shot yellow fire, and scream after scream pursued her as she fairly fled from the apartment, followed at a steadier pace by the lady. The latter took her into another room, did all in her power to soothe her agitation, but expressed no surprise when the girl declared that 10 times the liberal amount already offered would not tempt her to undertake such a charge.
Is that it?
Yep.
I think I may have read this when I was 11.
Really?
Because, yeah. Over at my friend Nolene's house.
Uh-huh.
And her parents, they had a really cool house, but they were very strange. And her mother had, she was a painter and, blah, 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 and had lots and lots of books. And I remember picking up a book that had, I think it was this story, because it was about a woman who was half owl. And it stuck with me all of my life. I never forgot it because it was so horrible. To an 11-year-old.
That's creepy.
Yeah. What's the name of it?
The Bird Woman.
That's amazing. After all these years, I encounter it again. I was 11 at Nolene's house.
I should think it would be a story that would appear in places, because that's pretty good.
Wow. And I have thought of that from time to time over the years.
Really?
Seriously.
Yeah, that was actually disturbing.
I never expected to encounter it again.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out the provenance of it.
I think Nolene told me to read it, and so I did.
Yeah, that's memorable. I think that more so because the way it's presented seems, almost plausible.
I know, I was just going to say the same thing. Almost plausible.
Yeah, someone's story repeated by someone. Oh no, I heard this secondhand. I swear it's true. So that Bird Woman story
Yeah.
doesn't have much of a presence on the web. The author doesn't have much of a presence on the web. He, like no Wikipedia article or anything, he was English, and that story was not originally published in like Weird Tales or a collection of fiction or anything. It was originally published in a book that he wrote about 14 mysteries of Britain.
Really?
Yeah. So it was some secondhand reporting of somebody's story.
How weird. I wonder if that's the book that I saw it in. I remember it was an old book.
Well, it looks like I didn't have the text of the whole book, but as it was excerpted by another blogger, that it was like the end text on that didn't match the beginning text in this collection. So I'm thinking that it probably appears in that book just as part of the running text, like it's not set apart as a story with a title or anything.
I remember it was a short story.
Right,
And I
yeah.
remember Nolene told me to read it. She said, that's weird. And so I did.
So I would think it was, it's been reprinted probably, but not widely.
Wow.
Yeah.
can't
So that's weird that you did.
That you
Find
found
it.
it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, it's always stayed in my mind. Every so often I kind of for some reason, I'll flash back to it.
Oh,
Because it was just so kind of awful.
Yeah.
But as you said, plausible in a way. You can imagine it happening.
Well, I don't know if happening, but being a story someone would tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. And someone else would repeat, and someone else would repeat, like real lore. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to forget it. It was quite a story. But it was written well, like it kind of factual, which is what you want in the fantastic.
Right.